Charlo versus Castano 2. Man, I love this fight. God, I love this fight. Looking forward to it. Undisputed at 154, a rematch in which many people feel like Castano won the fight. Some felt he was robbed. I was in the minority. I felt it was a draw. I felt Charlo was doing some good work that was going unnoticed. But I recognize that I'm very much in the minority there. Most people had Castano winning that fight. And he did a lot of good work in there, surprised a lot of people. Not me, but he surprised a lot of people who didn't know who Castano was coming in. And who is Castano? Castano is a guy who throws at a high rate, a pressure fighter, compact fighter, and he throws with authority when he gets on the inside. He's very much sitting on those shots, and he's a good combination puncher. And he has better defense than given credit for because he's tight with his punches when he gets on the inside. And he showed that against Charlo, because if you look at the highlights of the work Castano was doing when Charlo's back was against the ropes, Charlo was missing with a lot of the counters that Charlo usually hits with. The good work that Charlo was doing in this fight, an official prediction preview coming later on in the week. I just wanted to give some quick thoughts on this midweek. Charlo is a guy who, when he had success in that fight, it was in the middle of the ring. He threw the jab, he threw the right hand behind it, was on his front foot backing Castano up. So it was very much a front foot fight. Easier said than done, staying on your front foot and throwing a jab for Charlo. Because Charlo, at the end of the day, 154 Charlo, very good fighter, but he would have trouble executing a game plan that Bivol executed against Canelo. Whereas Bivol never had his jab taken away from him against the shorter, compact power puncher in Canelo. And that's because he kept the activity up. People sleep on that. A lot of people are complimenting Bivol's defense, but his offense was his defense in a lot of ways. I think he threw over 700 punches, which is high for a light heavyweight against Canelo, and it's difficult to do against Canelo. We thought coming in that if the punch output was up in the fight, that would favor Canelo because it meant more exchanges, and Bivol was not going to do well in exchanges with Canelo. But what happened was Bivol was throwing the jab and kept it in Canelo's face all fight and backed up Canelo in spots. The thing for Charlo, the way he can be successful in this fight, the way he needs to fight, is he needs to keep it in the middle of the ring. He's only going to be able to do that with the jab, keeping the jab out there consistently throughout the fight, getting his punch output higher than the 30s. Because Castano averages, 77 punches per round, which is high, on the high end for 154, and Charlo's on the low end of punch output. He's an economical fighter. He's not going to be able to be an economical fighter against Castano and have success because Castano is going to get his punches in. Castano is going to get to 70, 60 punches per round. I don't think Charlo is going to be able to lower Castano's work rate. The only way he'll be able to do that is to keep it in the middle of the ring and throw that jab out there consistently. But if he's throwing 40 punches per round, he's not going to be able to do that. He's not going to be able to execute a plan that Bivol executed against Canelo. So Charlo is going to have to pick his spots where he throws that jab and keeps it in the middle of the ring and tries to win 7 rounds that way. Or he's going to have to counter better off the ropes. And that's what he was able to do in his rematch against Harrison. Many people bring up the fact that Charlo didn't necessarily look better in the rematch, but Charlo did get him out of there. And Charlo was able to get him out of there because it's easier said than done going 24 rounds with a puncher like 154 Charlo. He's going to land his shots. He's going to do better at countering off the ropes in this fight. So my question is, can Castano go 12 more rounds of taking big shots with Charlo? Because he was wobbled a few times against Charlo in the first fight. So these are my questions coming in for both fighters. Can Charlo get his output up? Can he counter better off the ropes? And could Castano take the power over 12 rounds while keeping his output up? We'll see.